Good evening, YouTube, and welcome back to Paisano's Music and Vinyl Talk. I am your host, as always, Paisano. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We talk about rock and roll here. If you've been watching any of my videos and not yet subscribed, please do it. I love subscriptions and I love comments. Alright, that aside, let's talk about The Police, one of my favorite trios of all time, and their fourth studio album, Ghosts in the Machine, from 1981, released October 2nd, 1981 to be exact. And this was another stepping stone towards what the Police eventually became. The Police weren't around as the Police for really that long. They were cranking out an album a year since their debut in 1978, which I reviewed Outlandish d'Amour earlier in the channel. Please go back and check that out if you haven't seen it. And they finished with Synchronicity in 1983, so this was their second to last studio album. I mean, this group burned. They burned brightly, and they faded out just as quickly. I think I remember someone telling me that they never really broke up. They just, after the Synchronicity tour, they just never got in touch with each other and it just kind of ended. I don't know how true that is, but I have no reason to doubt it. That's for sure. But I know Sting has had a prolific solo career, and Andy Summers and Stuart Copeland, both very active still. Three tremendous musicians, and like I said, one of my favorite trios. I've always had a soft spot for trios. Love a good trio. And this was an interesting departure from their more direct sound early in their career and what they ended up becoming. Got away from their reggae-tinged rock sound of the earlier albums, and we're getting a little more poppy. And as we all know, the pop of the day was a lot more rocky than when we think of pop now. But they were under a lot of pressure with the previous album, Zenyatta Mondatta. In 1980, they were under a lot of pressure for that one to crank out an album. This one, they kind of took their time with it. Went up to Canada to Le Studio, where another great trio by the name of Rush recorded many of their albums, being Canadian and all. And they took their time. I think it took, I think it said in Wikipedia, they took 6 weeks to do the album, whereas Zenyatta Mondatta took only 2 weeks because they were under a lot of pressure. And this album is noticeable for being the first Police album in English. The previous 3 were not in English. Very interesting. And the cover, never really knew what it meant until like 5 minutes ago, when I looked up what the cover meant. It's supposed to depict the hairstyles of all 3 members. And from the left, I believe that's supposed to be Andy Summers, Sting with the spiky hair, and Stuart Copeland here on the end. Take that for what it is. They couldn't decide on a proper photographs for a cover, so that's what they did. Let's go over the track listing of this one. This had some big hits on it, and this album did quite well on the charts. It topped the album charts in England, and I believe it got to number 2 in the US. I don't know what kept it out of number 2, but this was a biggie, and there were some big singles that came off this that are still heard every single day. Go over the track list. Spirits in the Material World kicks it off. And this album's notable for introducing a lot more instrumentation, a lot more instruments, namely in the form of keyboards and horns. They a lot of different instruments are heard on this one for the first time on Police recordings. Spirits in the Material World kicks it off. Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. Huge hit. Invisible Sun. Huge hit. Hungry for You. And Demolition Man finishes out side 1. Side 2. Too Much Information. Rehumanize Yourself. One World. Omega Man. Secret Journey. And Darkness. Yeah, they got it's my dishwasher draining upstairs. Delightful. I love when it does that in the middle of my videos. They got the big 3 out of the way. Right off the bat. Spirits of the Material World. Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, and Invisible Sun. Boom, boom, boom. Let's take a look at the inner sleeve. It's interesting. In keeping with the digital looking cover, the both sides of this appears to be a circuit board, very colorful circuit board. They have the letters and the numbers next to some of the wiring and such, and on this side there is hints of photographs of the band, if you can pick them out. And on the other side too, there's a couple of eyes peeking out here and there. Very interesting. Let's take a look at the vinyl. The vinyl is also not the they were on A&M, and this is not a typical A&M label. You see some digital things there. Police were on a roll at this point. Absolutely on a roll. Got to flex their muscle a little bit. Package things the way they wanted it. And like I said, the end was near for this group. And just as quickly as it started, it ended. You know, but they gave us a lot of music in a short amount of time, a lot of quality music in a short amount of time. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. What will Paisano dig up next week? Tune in and find out. Good night, YouTube, and thank you.